Okay, now we have everything has funneled through or filtered through. You can see here. So all my solid is in there. There's like this white chalky stuff. That's calcium carbonate. So we took the carbonate from our unknown carbonate and we reacted it with something else, and now we have a new substance here. Okay, and so what we're gonna do is, let me show you what we're gonna do with the filter paper just a little bit. Don't touch it. Don't check out the chalky stuff, because otherwise we need to measure how much is in there. So keep that aside. But this thing here now, this is your filtrate. That is what we're going to test. And so you're going to take your leftover calcium chloride. Take your leftover calcium chloride. You have a little dropper of it, and we're going to just put a couple of drops in here to see if anything happens. So I'm going to hold up the clear side. Let's just put a couple of drops in here. Okay? I don't see anything precipitate out. So that's what you're checking for. You just want to see, does anything precipitate out? Does any leftover solid come out of this filtrate? And it doesn't. So the question now that you'll have to answer is, why did we do that? What does that show? If nothing is coming out of here, what does that tell us? If something were to come out, what would that tell us about the stuff that's in here? So you think about, what ions, what things are floating around in each of these solutions, and that tells us something. Okay, so that's a test that you want to do after everything is filtered through. What you're going to do now is you're going to take your filter paper, and now you have hopefully you still have your aluminum dish from the previous gift bag of things. If you don't have your aluminum dish, then just make something that's going to hold the filter paper upright or keep it. And you want to what you want to do is carefully. So if you weigh your, well, you know what? Yeah, weigh your dish by itself. Okay, so you should have your dish by itself. Let me see. So mine weighs 3.80 grams, 2.79 grams, like that. Weigh your dish by itself. And then you're going to take your filter paper and carefully try. I mean, if you have tweezers, use tweezers. I don't have tweezers handy right now. I'm just going to use my fingers. But you're going to take the edge and try not to touch the that's why we leave, when we pour it in there, we don't pour too much in there. So just take the filter paper out of there. So touch the edge, grab it like that, really carefully. And we're going to put this into, I'm going to put that in here like that. Okay, so you just leave it. You don't want to, it shouldn't spill, but you just want to put that in there. And then carefully, we can put that in the oven. Okay, and we need to dry it now. So you can do a couple things. You can dry it overnight, but you need to get really dry. And so I would recommend putting it in the oven. Just go like 300 degrees for 30 to 60 minutes or so. Make a pot roast or something. I don't know. But put that in there, get that totally dry, and then weigh it. Okay, so I'm gonna put it in the drying oven. I'm gonna figure out what drying conditions I think you might need to have this. But then you're gonna keep this, weigh it afterwards after it's totally dry. All right, that's your lab. This stuff here. The filtrate, you can dump that down the sink with a lot of water. If you just turn the water on and dump it down the sink, that is fine. And then cap it and then give that back. Same with calcium chloride. If you have leftover calcium chloride, you can also dump that down the sink with a lot of water. Those are fine to dispose of in those manners. All right, have a great day. Okay, welcome back. This is the oven that I have here. I have been putting this thing in the oven for a while. I've checked the mass of it a couple times to see that it's constant mass, and so I recommend, I'll put some recommendations in the instructions for how long you should heat this, but I think you should put it in there for at least an hour in the oven, maybe 300 degrees, weigh it, and then let it sit in there longer to see that it's constant mass. You really want to make sure that all the water is totally dried out. And so this was with the weighing boat, the little aluminum dish. It was 5.35 grams after an hour or so of heating, and I'm going to take it out of the oven right now and weigh it again and see what it is. Whatever you do, don't use a convection oven, the little fan on it. Don't do that. You don't want to blow your precipitate around. Also, be really careful and slow when you are taking things out of the oven, because you don't want to spill. You don't want mainly you don't want to have your precipitate fly off and go somewhere, okay? So we weighed our boat by itself. We're going to go ahead and open up. This is my oven. I'm going to take it out of the oven. It's a little warm, but it's not too bad. Okay, so I'm going to put this right here. And let's go over here and weigh it. So here it is. Be really careful, really slow. It's, metal cools really quickly, so you can just touch it. You should be able to just touch it or use an oven mitt. Don't burn yourself. And then I'm going to go ahead and weigh this now. So 5.36. It weighed 5.35 before. That's constant mass pretty much. It's, if the last digit's off by just 1 or so, that's okay. So we are going to say that that is our constant mass. Remember to subtract the mass of the aluminum tray by itself first, so that you don't include that in your mass. And then you have the mass of the filter paper too. You want to get the mass, subtract, so take this mass, subtract the aluminum dish and the filter paper to get the mass of just the carbonate. It's the new carbonate, it's calcium carbonate. And then we can do some stoichiometry, some math, and figure out what is our unknown carbonate.